is not about what you wanted for your kids. You know, some people have that idealistic that, you know, when I have a child, they're going to be a doctor or they're going to be something. And sometimes that's not what the kids want to be. And if you're encouraging them to be what you want, they're not always happy. They're miserable and they're doing it for you. I don't want my kids to do it for me. I want my kids to do it for them.
Welcome to episode number 20 of the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. I am beyond grateful to come this far for this series. When I started this series sometime last year, I actually wasn't sure how am I going to do this. But I am really blessed and very, very grateful for those beautiful connections who connected me with these beautiful and successful women who are so willingly sharing with us their wisdom and their time. Thanks once again to each and every one of you who have made this series and my mission possible. In today's series, I would say it is a special edition. Instead of one woman, we have two beautiful women joining us in our conversation. The mother and daughter duo, Sharon Murphy and Keeley, are coming up next to share their stories. Sharon, who has a background in community services and volunteering sector, has helped her autistic daughter, Keeley, to make her mission possible. Keeley's cause, which is now a national charity organization, has recently won the Small Business Award in Australia. Keeley herself has also won multiple awards herself as a super successful young lady. Congratulations to you, both Sharon and Keeley, for your achievement and the beautiful works that you have done for the community. When I was editing this video and listened to Sharon's sharings once again, I learned so much from her. She has shared so many valuable advices, especially for parents. I strongly encourage you to finish listening to the whole episode to learn more for our own kids and also to learn more about Keeley's cause and about their mission. So let's all have a listen to what Keeley's and her mom sharing next. Hi, good morning, Sharon and Keeley. How are you ladies doing today?
Good, thank you.
That's the way. So for those of you who just jump into the video, we have Sharon and Keeley joining us from Melbourne. Is that right?
Yeah, we're up near Balan, up near Ballarat. So yes, we're regionally based.
How's the weather in Melbourne today?
Yeah, well, the next story.
Yeah, it is gloomy and it is raining here in Sydney. I'm actually based in Sydney.
It's very gloomy here too, so you're not missing out much by being in Melbourne, let me tell you. But we do have 4 seasons in one day, so who knows what the day will bring by the end of it.
I know Melbourne always have a crazy weather for me there, but we have the Melbourne weather today.
Oh, well, I'm glad we're not the only ones that experience it.
Yeah, lucky me today. So Sharon, let's start with you first. Do you want to tell our listener out there who is Sharon Murphy?
Oh, now Sharon Murphy. Sharon Murphy is obviously the CEO of Keeley's Cause. I'm also Keeley's mum and mum to 3 children, 2 of whom have autism. So Keeley, who's nearly 19, and also my son, who's 31. I'm also a qualified welfare counsellor. So I work with the families behind the scenes. So I've been a welfare counsellor now for 16 years. So yeah, wow. That's me.
Oh, so you are the founder of Keeley's Cause as well?
No, Keeley's the founder of Keeley's Cause. I just do all the behind the scenes work and the majority of the work for her as well as our team of directors and advisory board. So we're all volunteering our time to support Keeley. Yeah, because yeah, she's doing amazing things, aren't you? And it's rapidly growing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
So yes.
amazed. I'm amazed by what Keeley is doing. So do you mind to share a little bit about yourself, Keeley?
Go, just say I'm Keeley. No,
That's okay.
no. Okay, we'll leave it that bit.
That's okay. Yeah, but I'm so grateful that you and Keeley
Come
both
back.
joining us today, this morning, Sharon and Keeley. I'm so glad that for that. So like you did mention a little bit about you, Sharon. You had your background in different areas. So what was your other background before you were a mom? What was your background?
Oh, before I was a mum, wow. I used to work at Optus actually.
Wow.
So I was a sales rep in selling mobile phones with Optus, and I was a sales rep in many other aspects. I'm pretty good at selling things. So yeah, and then I became a mum, and it wasn't until I was 30 that I decided to go back to school and become a community welfare counsellor. So Keeley, I don't think was even born then. So, oh yeah, no, she might have been. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't because she wasn't born until I was 35. Yeah, so when I was 30, I went back to school to do my diploma. And then I was working with women of domestic violence. So I was supporting them, helping them with their like empowerment, self-esteem, and returning them back to work or school. So that was pretty good. And then I was running my own counselling business. And then Keeley started Keeley's Cause, and what was just going to be something part-time has now ended up something full-time. And yeah, but I love the work. I love what I'm doing. I'm still able to do what I signed up for by helping families with different things behind the scenes, and supporting Keeley is the most important thing. So obviously with her having autism, she needs a little bit more support. So she guides us in what she wants us to do for her charity, and we work for her. She'll let us soon know when we're not doing what we're required, or she doesn't agree with something. She tells us there and then. But yeah, her visions are huge. What she wants for the charity is phenomenal. And so far, what she's doing is absolutely working and assisting others. So I couldn't be more proud of her.
That's so proud. It's a proud mom moment. And
Oh,
you
absolutely.
yeah, I
I'm proud
love
of all
that.
my kids. They're all doing something amazing. So Lee, my son, he's doing photography and quite successful, but he's also a security bodyguard as well. So they're doing things that they want. And my other daughter, she's about to have another child. So she's got her third coming along the way. So yeah, they're all doing wonderful things in either bringing new life or creating new things and helping others. So yeah.
Wow. So you were a counselor yourself before, and you are a women empowerment in the women empowerment sector and empowering women. Do you think they got the inspiration from you, or you are
Well,
influence
I
on them
will
as well?
say that yes, a lot they probably do, because they see me from the work that I do and how I help others, and how it changes them. So Lee has always been a giving child. It's just who he is. Keely's the same. And Renee, she helps out as much as she can to others as well. So yeah, I think it's been instilled in the way they've been brought up, because my morals have always been about, always be kind. You don't know someone else's struggle, and always say hello, even if you don't know the person, because sometimes that's all they need. So
Right.
yeah, they've been brought up with respect, morals, and ethics around, supporting others and being kind. So, yeah, I would have to say that it's come from their
Mm.
upbringing. Would you agree, Keeley, to that? Your
Yeah.
mum's pretty awesome, isn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So Keely is your youngest one?
Keeley is my youngest. Are you my youngest, Keeley?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
Oh,
my spice of life baby. So I had Keeley at 35, and yeah, she's my little cherub. So, and now my little cherub is all grown up. So,
yeah.
but she's doing amazing things and tackling the things that they said that she wouldn't achieve. She's achieved so much more. So we've got our license now, and we have a part-time job and doing lots of other things too, aren't we?
Wow, congratulations for getting that driver license. That's a big
Thank you.
thing, right?
Yeah, it gives her more independence. So
Mm,
yeah. And she often says, "Oh, am I allowed to do this?" And I say to her, "Keely, you're 18 now. You need to make those decisions for you,
mhm.
because and make sure that they're good decisions, because they're learning. I can't, hold your hand forever." So she was like, "Oh, okay, but I think you're liking your independence now, yeah? Now that she knows that she's, yeah, because ultimately it's her life now, and she needs to learn to equip herself as best she can. We're always here to support her, but I want her to make, decisions for her, not based on me, because my decisions for her may not always be the right ones for her."
You're such an amazing mom.
Well, thank you.
Mm,
My kids are my world. So,
yeah.
without them, it would be a pretty lonely world. But yeah, I encourage them, support them to be their best version of themselves as
Mm-mm.
best that they can be, despite, having a disability. So I
Mm-hmm.
am their cheerleader, and I think that's important. You have to be your kids' cheerleader,
Yeah.
for them to be able to do these amazing things, because without your support, they really don't have anybody else's. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
not their cheerleader, they've really got nobody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, being such an amazing mom, I know that it will be some challenges because with kids with special needs. So what were the challenges, especially when they were younger as a mom?
Um, for my son, it was that he couldn't understand what I was saying.
Mm-mm.
He was diagnosed back in the days where there were no support services. There was nothing like there is today. So
Mm-hmm.
you had to sort of manage. It wasn't until he was diagnosed when he was 10, that they said to me that from the age of 5 down, Lee never heard a word I said. So he has auto processing, but he only hears 1/3 of the world after they did some pretty intense hearing tests. So they kept saying that he needed grommets, and, that would impact on his learning, but he actually could not hear. So I found out at the age of 10 that Lee was a competent lip reader, which I didn't know, because you focus so much on what they say about, kids with autism may not necessarily give eye contact. So I thought that's exactly what he was doing, which
Mm-mm.
he was, but he was actually reading lips, and he still does it today. So anything that he can't hear, he will compensate by reading your lips to understand you. So that was really, yeah. I remember feeling like a bad mum at one stage when the doctor said, "Whatever you do, don't stand behind him, because he cannot hear a word you say." And when he was younger, he'd be like on the Xbox or whatever we had at that time, Nintendo, and I'd be saying, "Lee, Lee," and he'd be ignoring me, and I'd be saying, "Oh my God, why are you ignoring me?" Now I feel bad because he actually couldn't hear me, but I didn't know. So I learned to communicate with him in a way that we could understand. So if I would say to him, "Go to your room and get your socks and your shoes," he would go to his room, but he'd come back with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd do it again, and he'd do the same thing. So then I went, "Oh, okay, this isn't working." So I went, "Lee, look at mummy. Go to your room and get your shoes and your socks. What did mummy say?" And he would repeat it. And then that's how we learnt to communicate, because otherwise he didn't understand. So
Mm-hmm.
he had struggles there. Keely's struggles, Keely never walked till she was 2 or over 2, probably nearly 3. Her feet used to actually spin right round. They were so flexible that they didn't want to do things she wanted to. So she had a lot of delays in that aspect. Her speech, she had a lot of trouble with her speech when she was younger, and processing. So Keely can read a book, read the whole book, but she can't tell you what the book's about. So this is where she has her trouble with her learning, because she cannot process the information. So she can't do worksheets because there's too much wording in them, which is how they discovered that if you put that same test on technology and ask her questions one by one, she gets them all right. But if you give her a worksheet, she gets them all wrong. So, yeah, that's how we started to establish what was going on with Keely.
Wow, that's such an amazing milestone that you've been doing, because it requires a lot of patience for you to help with them and then to understand what's they're going on. And it's required a lot of time and required a lot of passion for you to do that.
Well, I guess that you have to do that. If that's the only way that you can communicate with your child, you have to work out what ways that you can better understand them when they can't necessarily understand you. And it can be hard, because you've got to find that way. But once you find it, it's amazing. These kids can communicate with you. Their world is different, and that's another challenge as well. They take things literally. So I might say to Keely, "Oh, that was really silly," and she'll say, "I'm not silly," and I'll say, "No, what you did was really silly." And she said, "No, you said I'm silly." So they take you literally, which can be quite frustrating. But when you continue to manage, how they perceive it and speak to them about it, that helps, doesn't it, Keely? That also their meltdowns, their ability to not understand our world, because our world is very overwhelming and busy, and their world is very literal and schedulized. So when things kind of go wrong, they don't know how to cope. So it's instilling those coping mechanisms that they understand for them, not generalized, but what works for them. And both my kids have different ways of dealing with things, but we've worked with each one. So it's just taking that time. But like I said, once it's done, you can achieve so much. They understand you, they trust you, they rely on you. So you have their back, and that's all that matters to them. Is that right?
Wow. Yeah. You're such a phenomenal mom, because that's required, like I say, a lot of passion for you to do that. And it's not an easy task for, even though as a mom for our kids as well, it's not easy. What to say, you have to require a lot of understanding of their world, and to have a lot of knowledge around this as well.
Well, that's it. And it's not something that you can just say, "Hey, I want to go into their world, show me your world, la, la, la." These kids have to trust you 100% to take you in that world. You have to earn it. Do you know what I mean? It's their world. And if they don't feel safe enough, or they don't trust you enough to share that, they won't take you there. So, like I said, I've managed to work with my kids 100% on every detail of their life that I can support them best with, and guide them how they want me to guide them, and what they want me to show them and teach them. So, yeah, so that's how we've kind of leveled it. And if they don't want to learn something about something, then they'll say, "No, I don't want to do that." And I go, "Okay, so where would you like to go?" Keely likes researching. She likes doing things like finding out about, she'll do a whole thing on elephants, or she did one on Queen Victoria, where she just decided one day she wanted to research her and found out everything about her. And she's got, how many kids? Like 7? Something like that. Yeah, and they were all homeschooled. So that was really interesting. So that was Queen Victoria. So she likes doing those sorts of things. Cooking. You like cooking? Bakes the best cakes, this kid. I tell you, I can't even bake them as good as her. I don't know what she does. Maybe it's in the whipping or something. But her cakes come out better than mine, and I've been cooking for a long time. So, yeah, so she loves that sort of stuff. And obviously helping others. So, which is why she started the charity. But like
Wow.
I said, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of who they are and what they're achieving, whether that be big or small. You have to cheerlead that, that even that littlest moment into something big, and that's what drives them to do better for
Mm,
themselves. So, because they're
mm,
like, oh wow, that was really awesome. What can I do next? So if they don't have that cheerleading behind them, they tend to give up or think that they're, not capable because society tells them that they're not.
mm-hmm.
So it's just finding that ounce of ability and growing it.
Mm, wow. That's like you say, you are their biggest cheerleaders.
Absolutely. I think as a mother, that's your role to
Mm,
find out, what you're supposed to do for your kids. It's not just about getting up, having kids and taking them out the door and taking them to school and doing
mm,
the normal things a mum does. It's about supporting them where they want you to support them the most. Sometimes it's not about what you wanted for your kids. Some people have that idealistic that, when I have a child, they're going to be a doctor or they're going to be something. And sometimes that's not what the kids want to be. And
mm-hmm,
if you're encouraging them to be what you want, they're not always happy. They're miserable and they're doing it for you. I don't want my kids to do it for me. I want my kids to do it for them. So whatever they want to do, I will support them 100%.
That's 100%. I really like that line there because a lot of parents always thought that they wanted their kids to be someone who the parents think they want. But in actual fact, it might
Yeah.
not be what the kids want, right?
No, and you don't want your child to be unhappy
Mm,
because you want them to be happy in the world that they've got to live as well. It's the same with the disability world.
mm,
You don't want your child being unhappy. They embrace their disability for who they are.
mm,
It's not something that we planned on, but it's something they've been given. And obviously it was given them to them for a reason. So what is that reason and how do we best manage that? So it's unfortunate that it does have an impact, but they've learned that, it is who they are. So they
mm,
embrace it. And I think that's an important thing too, is helping your children to embrace their disability rather than focus on, what they can't do.
mm,
Focus on the little things that they can do because, that's what grows them
mm,
and helps them. Because when you're focusing on the high level things all the time for them to be the best that you want them to be,
mm,
it's never going to work.
That's right.
They
Focusing
can
on
only be
just
the best of what they
being.
can be.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sharon.
No, you're quite welcome.
Yeah. So I do know that you were Keely started Keely's course at the age of 13. So is that at the time you did mention because she worked better on the technology rather than on paper? That's why she started this course?
Yeah. So what happened was Keely was struggling, and one of the teachers noted that if you did move this test over,
Mm-mm.
um, you could she would get them all right. But at that time in the school, they only had like, I think about 30 iPads for the whole school of like 300 and something odd kids.
Mm-mm.
But Keely needed that full time to learn. Um, but they didn't want to support that. They didn't want to give her that because what would the other parents say if Keely had an iPad and they didn't? And I was like, that's like saying to the blind person that you can't bring your dog in because someone else might want one too. Like it's a necessity. They require that. So then we tried to find Keely an iPad, and nobody was doing them. Nobody was supporting them. No one was providing them. So that was okay up until we left primary school.
Mm-mm.
And then that's when she had her cognitive report done, where we found out there was a mild intellectual disability on top of her autism, which then explained why she was having trouble learning the way that she did. And then because schools are 30 to 40 minutes away from us, Keely was being bullied at school by some of the teachers and some of the kids. So they were 30 to 40 minutes away from us, and we didn't want to send her, and she kind of didn't want to go because her anxiety was pretty high, then a lot of those bullies were going to be on that bus. So then her injustice stepped in, and that's what kind of started it. So why did you start it, Keeley?
I didn't like how people like me couldn't receive an education without using technology, so I made sure we could.
And that's how it started. So it started with, I want to do 2 sausage sizzles and raise money for 2 kids that have similar diagnoses to her, and give them iPads each. 59 later, Keeley was sponsored by Creswick Lions for her iPad, because Keeley still didn't have her own iPad, because, as she said, it was never about you, was it?
Oh,
It was about making sure no one went through what she went through. So now she's raised over $220,000, and she's presented 332 iPads Australia-wide.
wow.
So we receive no funding. So all the money raised for Keeley's cause is raised by sausage sizzles that we do, events, our merchandise, donations, businesses, organisations, individuals have the opportunity to sponsor iPads. So if you sponsor an iPad, you get to meet your recipient, because you want everyone to know where their money went.
Yeah.
Oh, we're keeping you up.
Yeah.
And who it supported. So yeah, and I think that's the importance of it, is knowing that, and it's a game changer for families, and for businesses, knowing, who supported you, and for the businesses, these families go up and beyond to promote your business for the support that you've given them. They don't receive it. So if you go up and beyond for them, they'll shout you from the rooftops. So sometimes it can be a very lonely life for parents with disability kids, because their kids are often isolated, have no friends, not included. So therefore the parents aren't either. The parents don't get invited to things as well. So as much as we can support them behind the scenes to create a better networking system for them, that's what we do as well. So it's not just about the iPad, it's about supporting these families
as well.
Yeah, because we fund iPads to 6 to 18. But if they go on to tertiary or university, we support them up to 25 with an iPad or a laptop. So once they're in with Keeley's cause, every 4 to 5 years, the iPad has to be updated. So they then receive a new one, and they have an opportunity to donate their iPad back. And Keeley wants to change the plaques on the back with the kids' names, and then send them those ones to third world countries to support other kids.
Oh, well, that's phenomenal. That's a big thing, and I really amazed by what you and Keeley are both doing. And Keeley is actually having such a big heart, like the mom as well, because you are one that started with helping the unfortunate when they were when even Keeley was younger, and only at the age of 30 she had that thinking of helping others.
Yeah, because as she said, there's people overseas that, especially kids that are in foster care or what's the other word? What are the orphanages? I couldn't even get my head around that one. That don't get supported and funded, and if she can help them have a voice, for nonverbal children to have a voice to be able to communicate, or for them to have an ounce of education, then it's a start. Keeley believes everybody, no matter your disability, deserves to be able to be your highest. Yeah, as Keeley said, they have dreams too of becoming somebody, but without these assistants, and they can't be that.
Wow. I'm speechless listening to what you just shared, Sharon. I literally, like, I don't know what to say, because it's such a big big mission that you ladies are doing. And I really think that it's important to have someone like you, who is the mom who is supporting Keeley in doing her cause in helping others. And I'm literally speechless on what you ladies are doing. That's amazing.
Well, for me, it's about, when you see those families that are grateful for you for their support, and these kids are going to get educations. Like, disability children are entitled to an individual learning plan, but not all the kids are receiving them, because obviously the teachers are busy, and things like that. And I understand that, but for the kids that need support, they need an education as well. Otherwise, they grow up to just be living on the streets and doing nothing and on welfare for the rest of their lives. So if they can have an education tailored to their individual needs, why would you not give it to them? Most of these kids are very smart thinkers. They can do things we can't do. They will be our next leaders. So we need to support them as best they can and give them a chance as well. So,
wow. That's so true. It is so important. Somebody has to do something, and I'm so glad that you and Keeley are those two that started this cause and having that mindset of helping others. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, like when you're trying to find something for your own child and it's not there, rather than just go, oh, well, I'll just get it for me and let's not worry about everybody else. If you've got the answer to find the solution that then helps everybody else, then why would you not do it? So she's bridged the gap. Obviously,
definitely.
Everything can't be funded everywhere, but if we can make that difference to support it, then who knows where it'll go and who will come on to support it. So we've had some amazing sponsors, partners, and everything that are signing up with Keeley, because like you, they believe in her story and love what she's doing, and they want to be a part of that. So yeah, Keeley's cause is really starting to get out there now, and it's nice to know now that, instead of us saying, hey, we're Keeley's cause, would you like to support us? They're ringing and saying now, hey, we want to support Keeley's cause. How do we come on board? And that's phenomenal. We've worked so hard to get where we are today, and it's now paying off. So, and the charity is rapidly growing. So,
yeah, I believe that this is a cause that many people will be supporting, and definitely it's such an amazing thing that Keeley is doing. Definitely something that worth to support.
Keeley's going to leave us now. Say thank you.
Is there anything that you want to say? Is there anything that she wants to say before she leave?
Anything you want to say before you leave? No, just thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, she's a bit nervous because she doesn't know you yet, so
that's all right. Yeah, I'm glad that she's here, and then thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us, Keeley.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure once she gets to know you and she sees you, then she'll talk to you all the time. But because she doesn't know you,
understandable.
They try and like read you first. Does that make difference? Both my kids read you first.
Yeah,
and
I do understand that. Yeah, that maybe just let Keeley to do whatever she needs to do, and hopefully to see you very soon, Keeley.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Keeley.
Thank you, Keeley. Yeah, so that's awesome. That's really, I really like the things that you and both Keeleys are doing, Sharon. And of course, I would say you are such an amazing woman, because without you, like the other day, I heard someone was saying, without moms, there's nothing. There's no Keeley, and then there's no anything. So I really love, because of you. You are her role model, and she's the one. You are the one who become her role model, helping her to become who she is today. Definitely.
Oh, thank you. Well, mums are really 24-hour qualified domestic engineers, really, aren't we? We do everything. We make sure our kids are okay. We're their nurse. We're their part doctor before we take them to the doctors. We're the problem solver. We're everything. So mums are the foreground of everything, I think. And to be a true amazing mum, you have to be following those roles that you've been given. It's a gift to be a mum. So, you got to do what's right by your kids. I
That's
truly
right.
believe that, you have to, you've
So,
been given the role and you have to do it properly.
So you were saying that Keeley, when she told you, she was the one who told you about her vision of helping this kid at the age of 13. And what were you thinking at the time when she was telling you that?
Well, I couldn't believe what she was saying, because Keeley had struggled so much. Like, Keeley has selective autism, selective mutism. So, she'll talk sometimes, but not very often. She wasn't really talking to anyone. She would pull on my clothes to speak for her. She would walk with her head down. She was not confident, nothing. But her injustice to the way she was treated, what she was going through, and why she couldn't have technology to help her, was what started Keeley's cause, because there was no government funding for it. At the time, NDIS were not funding iPads at all. Nobody was doing it. There was no support services. So Keeley's injustice to that was, well, then I need to fix it. So if iPads, her exact words were, if iPads are what we need, then iPads are what we're going to get. And I'm starting a charity. I'm calling it Keeley's Cause. She had it all named in her head. She designed the logo, and I just went, whoa. Because that's not the Keeley I knew. Like, the Keeley I knew, if they'd have said to me that she's going to start a charity, I'd have told them it would never happen. But her injustice is what drove her. And then she said, oh, I want to go global. And I said, Keeley, we haven't even got it off the ground registered yet. Like, you're just going to have to wait. And who knows? And then 5 years later, those global doors are now starting to open. And what she put out in the universe that day is now starting to create effects. So not only does she want to help children here, but everywhere else. And that's starting to take place now. So it's phenomenal. And
it is.
Wow,
that's I really think that you are the most amazing woman, because it is not easy, because for a kid to mention something like that, you have to be her first point of contact to be in here, because you support her. Because if you say in a different way, opposite direction, it will be a total different outcome.
Yeah, that's right. If I had said to her, like, oh, it's not going to work, that won't happen, well, how do I know that it's not going to? So my motto is, try it. If it doesn't work, then it didn't work, but at least you gave it a go. So I said to her, okay, well, if you want to give it a go, we'll see how it works. If it works, then all and good. And if it doesn't, you can say you gave it a go. And she said, all right, then. Well, it's worked. And I was brought up that way, to always try. You never know if something's going to work unless you give it a go. Same as when you're given an opportunity. Sometimes take that opportunity, because you never know what is next around the corner. If you don't take that opportunity at the time, it may never, ever come again. So always take it. If it's not right for you, then remove yourself, but always give it a go, because each opportunity leads to something else, something bigger. So, but the charities also helped Keeley in herself. Like, she's more confident now. She speaks to people, like her talking to you just before. She would never have done that, even if you just thrown money at her. It was something that she wouldn't do, because she doesn't like doing Zoom meetings and stuff like that. Same as she won't talk on the phone. She won't talk on the phone because she doesn't know who the person is and she can't see them. So Keeley prefers face to face. If you asked her to say do public speaking, she would do it, but only if you wrote for her what she was going to say or help her out with that, and then she just reels it off like no tomorrow. But to get up and just do something, she's not that quite confident yet. Because she does have trouble with her speech, she's scared of making a mistake. she doesn't want people to laugh at her. And I try to encourage her to say that, you know, even people without a disability or having trouble speaking, I often make mistakes, like I've made a few here today. We all make them and we all learn from them. So I'm just trying to teach her that, you know, it's okay to make a mistake and not everyone will laugh at you. And half the time people don't even know that you've made one and you just keep going.
Right.
So it's only when you bring attention that you've made a mistake that people go, oh, hang on a minute, they made a mistake. And then you're inviting criticism, I suppose, then. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get her some more confidence there, and you know, she might be speaking to the world before we know it. So
I can totally see that. And then tell her I can't speak proper English and I make whole heaps of mistakes, and then
that's right.
examples, right? Yeah.
But it's how you learn, and the more that you do it, the more your English will be better, and soon we won't even be able to tell that you've got an accent. We'll be going, oh my God, you've been living here for like forever.
That's
So
right.
yeah, you know, we never stop learning, and I think that's the important thing. We never stop learning anything. Each day teaches us something. Each person that we meet teaches us something. You know, we either learn from it or grow from it. So I think it's important to put yourself out there to better who you are.
No,
a lot of people that you meet guide you to the next level. Well, they say that not everyone stays in your life forever. You know, you meet people, some move on, some stay.
That's right.
And, you know, when they move on, it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's just part of the process. So
yes, that's right.
You just allow for people may leave and people may stay. So
there is a Chinese saying that there is none of the party that's never end. There will be a party that's always end, even though midnight, but still ending is none of the party that's never end.
no, that's right. And as one door closes, another opens. So, you know, we often get disheartened when something goes wrong, but sometimes it goes wrong because there's another way to that life. You know what I mean? A better door to open. So ending something isn't always a bad thing. It's often opportunity for your next phase in life. So yeah, and it's true, as one door closes, another opens, and it takes you somewhere else. So
yeah, that's definitely is the right one. That's so true. And it's the beauty of life, right? That's how we learn.
Absolutely. And if we don't do that and we stop those opportunities, we're actually not growing ourselves. And I think that's where we become more complacent. We suffer more depression because we think we're not worthy and things like that, because things are going wrong. But if you look at life differently, as opposed to it being wrong, we're not here on earth to be miserable. That's not what our life is about. It's about celebrating, learning, and moving forward. So sometimes if you're miserable, we have to take a look at, you know, why are we miserable? What's creating that, and how do we fix that? How do we remove that so that we can embrace life for how we're supposed to be embracing it? And I think that's important as well. So it's just looking at life differently and not negatively. Yes, things go wrong and we get tested. I really believe we get tested to see what we're going to do. Are we going to fight it, or are we just going to give up? And I've noticed that if we give up, we repeat the lesson over and over and over and over again until we learn it. But if we learn from it, we move forward. So yeah, I truly believe that. Look, that's just my take on it, but for my life, that's how it's come, and the only person that can change that is you. So, you know, you've 100%. Got to look at what you can do to make your life better, because we are not here to suffer. We are not here to be miserable, to be depressed all of our lives. So, and it's finding, you know, someone that person, that support person that can guide you through it. I've had a lot of support people along my way that, you know, I'll never forget. They may not be in my life now, but, you know, without them, I wouldn't have been moving forward. You know, I faced a lot of struggles myself to become who I am.
I love that.
So that's the beauty of understanding yourself. I think you have to understand who you are to be able to support other people, because if you don't understand yourself, you can't really help others. So which is what I've taught the kids, which is why they embrace who they are for what they are. they understand who they are.
Wow, that's such a good piece of advice, and I totally believe everyone should listen to that message that you just shared. Embrace who you are, and we come to life to celebrate. And it's not, it's, even though there are challenges in life, it's always there for us to learn. And yeah, I so can see that you are definitely one of the biggest role model. Because of you, that's how the ripple effect, you bring these traits and you bring the strength that you have to your children, and they are going to
I
do lots of
believe that if you
amazing
have a
things.
gift, you need to share it.
Yeah.
If you can help somebody else out, then you need to share that gift with them. Not be selfish about it, that go, oh, well, I had to learn my way, so you need to learn yours. It's not about that. If you've got the keys that people can understand better to how it can assist them, then you need to give them. People often ask me, how do I do it? How do I manage my kids? Why am I not crying in a corner? Well, crying in the corner is not going to change anything. When I found out my kids had disabilities, I was like, oh, wow. But you know what? I've been given these kids for a reason. What can I do to best support them? A lot of parents don't want their child labelled with something wrong with them, and I get that, because when that label comes, it can be disheartening. But without that label now, in this day and age, these kids can't get support, they can't get funding, they can't get help. So the label isn't about labeling your child so everyone can, pick on them or anything like that. It's about getting them the best support services that they can. Because without that label, your child will continue to struggle without that support, because it's not given without it. So whereas years ago, I had friends, especially when Lee was diagnosed, that didn't want their child labelled. But it's an answer. When you've got a child and something's not right and they're struggling and whatever, and yes, the doctor says there's something wrong, and you're like, oh my God, there's something wrong, they're being labelled and everything like that. But then what it is. What it is to support them better. You can research it more. You can get help. You can get guidance. You can get support on that. And you can guide them properly and provide them with their needs that best support them. Like, for Keeley, there are certain things she can't do. So let's not focus so much on what she can do, and see if we can build up on what she can't. And if we can't, that's okay, but at least give it a go.
Yeah, I always believe that focus on your strength and do more of it.
Yeah, that's right. Because they can achieve anything. For Lee, he struggled. He was high in maths and English, but socially he couldn't interact properly. He didn't have many friends. Now he has so many friends, so much support, especially with his photography. It's just rapidly growing. People know who he is because he just puts himself out there. He doesn't care what people think of him anymore, because he is who he is. So my motto is, not everybody's going to like you. You need to be yourself. If they don't like you, they lose you. You don't lose them. So, they lose knowing you. So that's how I've brought them up. And now they kind of go, oh, well, that person wasn't for me, Mum. No, they weren't. But, I've got all these other people that are. So they focus on what is good about it and not what's negative. Whereas before they'd go, oh, this person doesn't like me. And it really depressed them. And I'd say, well, they're not meant to be there. So people that are meant to be in your life will be there. Those that aren't, unfortunately, they get to lose knowing you. So
true. Wow, I want to give you a round of applause of that line. That's so true. And I love that. I think that's you are on the stage, everyone, you are standing up and doing the same for what you just shared. I really love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is so true that we can't please everyone in our lives.
No, you can't. But we spend so much of our life trying to do that.
Yes.
We want to make that person proud of us, or we want to make that, person love us more or whatever. But, if they're not doing that, that's not about you, that's about them. So leave that problem with them. You know, don't take on the problem. You know, sometimes family, you know, we might have family members that, you know, we have that really put us down. Just because they're family doesn't mean that they get to do it. Because if you ask yourself, if you didn't know this person and they weren't part of your family, would you allow them to do this to you? The answer would be no. So if you wouldn't let anybody else do it, then you don't have to let family either. It's about boundaries and just saying, hey, that's not okay. And if they continue to do it, well, then you have to remove those people.
Yeah.
Positive people only in your life, not negative, because negative, you become part of their life and they actually take you down with them, and you don't always know that it's happening until it's too late.
That's right.
So you always have to decide what's right for you, and it's not always about fitting in. These people have to be fitting into you. So it's, you know, what can they bring? What worth can they bring to your life, rather than looking at how can I be better in your life? It's, you know, how can they be in your life, and are they worthy of it? Not everybody's worthy to be in your life. Are they worthy of being there? Do they provide you support? Do they encourage you, or do they treat you not right? If they treat you not right, then they're out the door. So, and that's how you gain your support network, and you get amazing people around you because they're like-minded like you. They encourage you, they support you, they like what you do, they think you're amazing, and you know, they're there. They're the people that are your tribe. You need to find your tribe.
That's right. The tribe is so much important, because that's bring out a lot of you, and then whether they pull you down or bring you up,
Absolutely.
That's the main
And
reason.
it works the same for disability kids, disability families. It's the same process. You know, find that tribe. And just because one person, you know, at the school doesn't like you because you have a disability child, well, that's her loss. Because you know what? Kids with disabilities are amazing people, and so are their mums. And if she doesn't get to know you, then that's not about you. That's about her. She misses out on knowing you.
Wow. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Sharon.
No,
That's
thank
such
you.
an impactful message. That's such an impactful message that you have out there for other people. I really love that. And also, I know that Keeley's cause has won various awards as well for the past many years. And I heard that recently there is a Australians of the Year award as well. Is that right?
So she recently, in 2021, she was Victorian finalist for Young Australian of the Year. She received the Diana Award in the UK in 2020. So one of our Lions Club members had told me that he had nominated Keeley for the Diana Award, and I was like, whoa,
wow, that's a
like
big
that's
one.
an international word. That's huge. And it's not something that is just sort of given out, like it's pretty explicit, you know, like it's exclusive. So I was like, oh wow, thank you so much, that is such an honor. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that she would receive it. So that year she was one of only 2 Australian recipients to receive the award. It goes out to like 390 odd people worldwide. And Keeley was chosen as one of them for outstanding contribution to society. So, she's won a number of awards. She got Stevie, the Gold Stevie Award, which is an international award for women in business. She won that for Social Change Maker for Disability. That was out of 1,500 entrants. And at the end of April, we go to Sydney. Keeley's Cause has become a finalist for Small Business Champion Award. So that was really exciting to have received that. We've made finalists for that. So, so I'm very proud of her. People nominate her everywhere. So, and she's just also been listed as finalist for Women Changing the World, which is another international award for humanitarian impact and Young Woman of the Year. So, she's doing phenomenally.
It is. That's such an amazing job that she's doing, and she's only she's still under 20, and then that's so big. She's at such a young age, and she achieved a lot already in her life.
Well, that's right, because teenagers are normally not focusing on that. They're focusing on doing, things, acting out and whatever else. And I suppose, if Keeley was in mainstream media, mainstream schooling, and she had a lot of friends, she'd probably be doing the same. But with everything that happened, and, when she started Keeley's course, she was starting to develop depression herself because she was isolated. All her friends that she did have were no longer in her life because they were too busy catching buses, and they were up early and late home. And and then that's when her injustice stepped in. So I think, as they say, out of every not so good outcome always comes a great outcome. And like I said, she was developing depression, but rather than let herself go there, she decided to create something to make her get out of that. And I think injustice is a powerful thing, and most of these kids with that are autistic have an injustice to something somewhere along the way. And it's that drive, like, even their injustice to some things, like my kids, some weeks their injustice to something can go on for anywhere from 1 day to 2 weeks to a month or more. And if you don't help them find that answer to it, it continues, and it just lasts longer. Fortunately for us, we found the answer to Keeley's injustice, and she found the answer to support everyone else so that they don't have to walk that walk that she did, because I know it had a huge impact on her self-esteem, everything, because she felt worthless. Why can't I have what others have? So the iPads hold the teachers accountable now to give these kids individual learning plans and educations tailored to their needs. So we know now that all kids will now have the opportunity to have an education, thanks to Keeley and her creating the charity.
Yeah, it is. It is such a big impact. It's not only the iPad, like you say, it is actually letting others parents see the possibilities, and other kids is in the same situation like her to see the possibilities, and there are big things that they can achieve.
Well, that's right. And it's not just about receiving the education. So the iPad is their world. And, for non-verbal children, it's their voice. So, and it's so sad that, non-verbal children, just because they can't speak doesn't mean they can't hear and they can't communicate, but they're treated like, oh, and, that you'll find someone go, oh, are you okay? Can you hear me? They can hear everything you said. They can process it. They just can't speak. The iPad gives those children that voice. And it also helps out highly anxious children like Keeley, that then when they shut down and they don't want to speak to anyone, they can still use the technology to communicate how they're feeling, like through emojis, picture-based word apps. So you're letting parents hear their child's voice for the first time through technology that they wouldn't otherwise not hear. They're very smart kids. They're writing books. The words that they use are articulated. It's regulating their moods. It's lowering their depressions. It's giving them self-worth. So the iPad just isn't about them learning. It's about their whole world is accessible in that technology.
Well, that's such a big thing, like you say. And then I know that it is something that is currently being doing in Australia only, and Keeley mentioned about going global as well. So what's next now for Keeley's cause?
Well, we've had offers to support Nepal and an offer to possibly support Bangladesh. So we're working behind the scenes on that at the moment. We have been approached about Africa as well. So they're all the third world countries that struggle just like our disability families here. They don't have anything like Keeley's cause over there as well. So if we can support them, and we've got people that want to partner with us and sponsor those iPads that go over there. So, so if we can make the smallest amount of change to someone's life, then we're happy to do it. And if that means going overseas to help out other families, then we'll be there. Every person, no matter where they come from, no matter what country they live in, no matter who they are, their race, religion, gender, whatever else, we will support them to better educate them and give them a voice, because it's most important that these kids have a voice and have access to education, regardless of anything.
Wow. You ladies are such a blessings to the world.
Oh, thank you. I think it's just something, like I said, if you find something that you can do and something is somebody's not doing it, but it needs to be done, I think you have to stand up and at least try. You know, we're not magicians. We're just trying to make a difference. But luckily for us, that difference is working, and, you know, we're making a huge difference and we're having a huge impact. And, you know, hopefully the rest of the world will follow suit and we can make it a more inclusive world at some stage where everyone accepts everyone for exactly who they are, regardless of indifference, because we're all put on this earth for a reason. We weren't created just for nothing. So if we can all learn to get along and support one another, what an amazing world it would be.
Yeah, definitely. But it starts with one person, and that's one person is you and Keeley, and there will be eventually a ripple effect that can impact.
That's right, because you've got to look at, okay, you know, someone made my life amazing or did something for me. What can I do now for that next person? How can I make this world a better place? You know, and it's only got to be one act of kindness, and that one act of kindness gets paid forward, and then someone else will follow suit and someone else will follow suit. But unless you teach someone how to do it, not everybody knows how to do it on their own. So sometimes we have to teach them how to be that better person. And if you can be taught how to be that better person, which everybody can, there's no excuse not to be them.
Wow, your words is always so touched me. It's so touched for me, and that I really think that many people that hear what you're sharing, even though it's just one person, like you say, people that can do a small act of kindness, just one people at a time.
One person, one day. Because when you do something for someone else, someone will always want to give back, so they'll pay it forward. And when you pay it forward, that ripple effect starts. It's like dominoes. It just continues as long as the road goes. But, you know, you can't just go, oh, well, I was given that, I'm not going to give that to that person, because you're stopping that pay it forward. You've been given an opportunity, spread that opportunity to someone else.
That's so true. That's so important. Just it's always, the world will be a better place with just one person with this thinking. And
that's right. It's not about being selfish. It's about being selfless. So when you're selfless, you open your world to opportunity. When you become selfish, you live a very selfish life. You don't have these offerings to grow because you are being selfish.
That's right.
You know,
wow.
Selfless is so much better. It's such a more impactful life, a more wonderful life. You know, you don't have to be rich in money. You have to be rich in life. And, you know, I'm so grateful for the life that I have. But it's what I create for me too.
Yeah. Wow. Just thank you so much for your time with us, Sharon.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I learned so much from you. And then it's such a it's so many touching moments speaking to you and Keeley, and I literally speechless to hear what you have done. And you are definitely one of the great example of being selfless. It's not only that you and Keeley are both selfless, because that's how these people that need the iPad, that have the iPads now because of what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Well, like I said, you know, if there's everyone's entitled to an education, so they need to have one to be able to fulfill their lives later. You know, education just doesn't stop when you're young.
That's right.
You require it now for work, for jobs. If you don't have that education and you don't have something behind you, you can't move forward. And what type of life is a stagnant life of nothing? That's not for anybody. Nobody should have to live that way. So let's stop, you know. same as the homeless person. You know, homeless people aren't always bad people. Sometimes they're very high-end people that have been CEOs or something and they've lost their way. But I tell you what, they have a story to tell. Sometimes you just want to sit and listen to somebody tell you a story because it'll give you a whole different light. So homelessness isn't about just bums being on the streets. Some of these people have come from, you know, places that you would never have thought they would, but this is where they've got themselves. But always remember that when you fall or something bad goes wrong, it's not a life sentence. It's a just for now. You know, it can be changed, but how do you change it? How do you do that? You need to find that answer. But like I said before, life isn't about being miserable. That's not what we're here for. We're not being punished. We are not given children with disabilities because we did something wrong. We're being given them because they have something to teach us about ourselves or about someone else. They make us better people.
100%. I really love that message, Sharon. So for those of the people who were thinking now to get involved with Keeley's cause, how can they do that?
Okay, so people can volunteer. They can come on board and volunteer for us. They can donate any amount. Every dollar counts, no matter how small. Every dollar goes towards iPads. So, you know, some people might only have $5. That's okay. That's great. $5 is better than no dollars. So, and then there's the opportunity to sponsor iPads. You can sponsor one, you can sponsor two, you can sponsor 500, however many you want. So we've got Freemasons at the moment who have just donated 18,000. So that's 30 iPads. So that's 30 kids' lives now changed more for the better. So, and they get to meet their recipients. So attend our events. We've got a couple of events on our website at the moment. Our golf day is coming up this Sunday. I don't know when this is going up, but there's still chances to book a team and come out and play for the charity golf day. And then we have a girls' night out at the Ballarat Trotting Club. And we have a number of people doing some events around for us. You can become a volunteer ambassador. You can help us spread the word, help us spread the word, help us to raise money and support more children. So there's those opportunities. As long as you're 18 and over, you can be a volunteer ambassador, whether you're a mum, dad, whoever. And we also have a kids program, our super raisers, where kids can help out to make a difference, and they get the opportunity to meet their recipient if they raise enough funds for an iPad. So there's the super raiser, they get a certificate. It's all free, a lanyard. They can dress up as a superhero or they can go as themselves, and they just raise some money. So some ideas, we had 3 boys do a sock fundraiser. They raised enough for an iPad. We had another girl that did a garage sale of all the old toys she didn't want anymore, and she raised 270 that then went into the pool to help kids. So yeah, and it's about teaching children how to pay it forward and help others less fortunate than them. So and then you bring more awareness to people with disabilities and understanding them and, you know, accepting them, including them, and that's a really big thing. So the Super Raiser program is a really good one. We've had lots of kids join that, and we're very proud of them. So there's lots of ways to help. If you just go to our website, www.keeleyscause.org.au. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and I've just started on TikTok as Keeley's Cause as a business. So still trying to get my head around the TikTok thing. I'm waiting for Keeley to help me out and do a couple of TikToks for me. So we do a lot of things that everyone can come and help. We can't do it alone. So we wouldn't be growing without the support of others. So the more support we get, the continue we grow, the more kids that get help, and the more the world changes. So
Wow, that's amazing. Lots of amazing things that you ladies are doing. And I'm going to include the website on the videos and in the description a bit later, so that whoever wanted to support and be part of Keeley's cause, make sure you reach out to Sharon or go to the website and have a look. And I did see that so many amazing events has been lined up as well.
yes, and any emails and questions, don't just go into the system. It comes directly to me, so I'm answering your questions, your inquiries. So anything that you need to know, please email us, and you will be talking directly to me. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you'll be talking to me. So yeah, so any way that we can help you to help us, or if we can offer some advice in helping your family, then we're here for you.
Thank you so much for lots of wisdom and the advice that you're sharing with us today, Sharon.
You're quite welcome. If I can help somebody else in their life, then I've lost nothing.
That's so good. We have a very good time with you. But before we wrap up, Sharon, do you have the advice for parents out there with having kids in the same situation, maybe kids with special needs? What's your message for them out?
My message is to love and adore them. They've come to you for a reason, you know, and you may get frustrated. Look, being a disability parent, being a parent at any time is hard work, yeah, but being a disability parent has so many more challenges that come with it. But don't give up. Don't give up. Take the time to recharge your batteries every now and again. It's okay to say, I can't do this. It's okay to yell out for help. But please ask for help. There's always somebody that can support you, and it may not be from your own network, but it may be from somebody else's. Believe in your kids. You know, even when the doctor says your child will never be anything, that's great. That's just an overview. But you know your child better than anybody. Be that advocate for your child, because without that, they can't get anything without your voice. So, you know, if you can't stand up and be that voice, yell out. We'll be your voice for you. But yeah, be your child's cheerleader, but love them for who they are, not what you thought you wanted them to be. Accept them for exactly who they are, and they will teach you so many things you never even knew about yourself.
Wow. Yes, they teach us so many things, right? As a kid said, we thought that parents always thought that they know better than their kids, but in actual fact, you can learn so much from kids.
Especially disability children, because they perceive things a lot different. They look at things differently than we see them. And it's not until they tell you something that you go, oh, hang on a minute. You know what? You're actually right, because we're so focused on the way that we live and the way we're taught. They look at things completely different. Most people look at things tunnel vision, like there's one way and that's the only way. Whereas if you look as a whole and take into it, take into perspective of how your actions may make someone else feel, rather than just go and do it, because you wouldn't like it done to you. So, you know, sometimes just stop and think before you open your mouth, because sometimes what you say can hurt someone else. But if you see someone with a disability, don't be scared to say hello. Sometimes they just need someone to say hello. Ask them what they like. You know, some kids like dinosaurs or trains. Talk to them about, you know, what they love, and they will compensate with you to the hilltops, you know, but they will read you. They will know if you're fake or if they're not. And if you ever want to know something and get a true answer, 100% true answer, ask someone who's autistic, because they will tell you 100%. They won't lie to you. You might not like what you hear, but they will give it to you straight down the line. So, yeah, but embrace them, love them and nurture them, and, yeah, be their cheerleader and advocate. They need your voice while they're younger.
Yeah, that's so good. I really love that message. And again, you make me cry again. I remember our first conversation, you make me cry.
Yeah, I know. I made you bawl your eyes out the first conversation. I was like, oh my God, I made her cry. And Keeley goes, did we make her cry? And I said, yeah. And she said, you know what? That's a good thing. Because we know that when you're upset or you're touched or our story affects you, we know we've touched your heart. And that's what we want to do. We want to touch the heart of people so that these kids can get better support systems, included, accepted. And that is more important than anything. You know, they may not want to learn anything, but they want to be included. They want to be accepted. They want to be treated just like everybody else.
Yeah, that's so true. And again, I really think that aside from being amazing, being phenomenal, I don't know what's the word to describe what you and Keeley are doing, but I really wanted to thank because you ladies step up and be that first person to start what you ladies are doing. And I wanted to say a big thank you to Keeley and of course to her mom, because without you, this one wouldn't go ahead, right?
Yeah, probably not. Because if I'd have said, oh, you know, I don't have time for it, oh, it'll never work, la 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 la, then I'm diminishing her dreams, based on my thoughts. Whereas, you know, okay, it may not work, who knows? But if it could, how do we know? So let's give it a try. And if it doesn't work, at least your child can say, I gave it a go, rather than give up. To give up, they go nowhere. To try, learn, and it may fail, they learn from it. They try something different.
So true. That is so true. And I really love that you give it a try. And then maybe from the time when you say yes to her to try, you wasn't even thinking that's where you guys going to be.
No, that's right. She had visions of where she was going to be, and I was like, whoa, okay, well, let's just see how that works out, because, you know, you don't want to say, oh yeah, it'll work 100%, and then you failed them because they believed in you. So you always say, okay, let's try, because you don't know if it's going to actually do it. But if you try, then at least you know. But not trying stops them from growing. Not trying stops them in their tracks. It gives them no hope, because you've more or less gone, oh no, we're not going to do that. Well, that's the end of that. So what do they do now? Always try. If they have an idea, even if you don't think it's going to pull off or it's going to work, show them that you're at least trying and that you believe in them. Then if it doesn't work, don't say, oh, see, I told you so. No. We say, okay, well, that didn't work. Maybe we can try something else next time and see what happens then.
That's such an important life lesson that you have bring it to others, to your children, and it's going to help a lot more people who is listening out there as well.
Yeah, because it's about building their esteem and you know, helping them to be able to adapt in a different world as best they can. But if you're shooting them down and stopping them and, oh no, you can't do that, or oh no, the doctor said you can't, so you can't. Well, you don't know. The doctor said he can't, but can he? Or can she? Can they really? Because, you know, if they tried, could they, you know? So it's just trying. Even when you're told, like people are told sometimes, you know, you'll never walk again. And if you believe that you can, you will. You may walk differently. It may not be 100% to what it was, but you can still do it. It's when we give up that we lose ourselves, because we're too busy listening to everyone telling us, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you won't, no, you won't, no, you won't. It's all negativity. Okay, no, I won't. But how can I better do something and still have a quality of life?
Yeah, that's so true. Very, very important for people to understand and remind ourselves every day that whether we think we can or we can't, we are always right. And you don't believe in what others are saying. And as long as you try, and you will eventually get to where you are. That's such
it's like, you know, when they say if you don't do something, you may live in regret. Because sometimes you're always going, oh, I should have done that. Why didn't I do that? And it might have been the fear or something, but take it, embrace it, because it may be the one thing that gets you to the next step. But to live in regret, you don't want to live in regret. Try it. If it doesn't work, you can say, well, at least I'll give it a go.
Yes.
Same as the job. Try the job. If you don't like the job, that's okay. It's your choice. Leave the job. It's okay to make decisions for yourself.
That's right. Yes, so true. That is so true that you are saying. It is always better than trying rather than dying with regrets, right?
Yeah, that's right. Same as, you have people say, oh, I have to go to work.
Mm-mm.
I don't want to, but I have to. Well, you don't have to, you choose to.
That's
And
right.
if you're not happy, then don't be there. Find something else.
Yes,
And if that takes you 3 months or whatever to find it, because you shouldn't be miserable going to work. Yes, money's wonderful, but not if you're miserable. Money's not everything if you're miserable.
Wow, you've got such a lot of wisdom that you're sharing with us, Sharon. I really, really appreciate your time with us today, Sharon. I know that we have I did spend a lot of your time today. Thank you so much for your time with us.
Oh, no, thank you for yours. I'm so grateful for you taking the time out to want to interview us, so that we can be part of this amazing podcast, like Top 100, like that's phenomenal. And we're one of those. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time once again. So before we wrap up today, Sharon, is there anything that you would like me to ask that I haven't asked yet, or any message that you want to share?
No, I think I've covered everything. Just, always be nice, treat people with respect. And like I said, if you see someone who has a disability, just say hi, hello. Even if they don't answer you, just say hello, because that's important to them. And if you want to talk to somebody with a disability, get down to their level. Bend down if they're a child, be at their level. Speak to them about what they like, what they eat. Probably find that it's a chicken nugget. Most of our kids with autism have chicken nuggets. I know I have 2 peas in a pod that eat exactly the same way, brother and sister, the same meals, the same mannerisms. They cut their food the same way. So, yeah, talk to them. Let them teach you.
That's so lovely. I really learned a lot from you today, Sharon. And I
thank you.
Whoever who listen and finish listening to this podcast or this conversation between me, Keeley and Sharon, you definitely will learn a lot, because there's so much wisdom that Sharon was just share. And that's such an important life lesson that you just shared with us as well. Thank you so much for your time once again, Sharon. And I'm really looking forward to maybe meet you and Keeley one day.
Oh, absolutely. We wouldn't have it any other way. So, yeah, she's a beautiful girl. And I think she would love that. And then that makes it more important for her as well, that you're not just behind a screen. She gets to meet you in person. And I think, yeah.
I'm looking forward for that. And thank you so much once again, Sharon. And looking forward.
No, thank you. Lovely to chat with you.